Hi everyone, my name is Nikhil and welcome to the Out of Office podcast. Today we have with us another very special guest, Achyuta Bidhu. Achyuta is the co-founder of Convert with Copy. From working with 7 and 8 figure founders to generating over $5 million in revenue and collaborating with brands like Penguin India, Zomato and Boat, he commands a strong understanding in business and marketing. Achyuta, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Nikhil. It's honestly a pleasure for
Thank
me
you,
as
man.
well.
Thank you so much. And Ajita, I usually like whenever guests come on the show, I include a fun fact about them. I don't have one about you right now, so would you like to share a fun fact about yourself with the audiences?
Okay. You've put me in a fix. Okay. Fun part
Yeah.
about me. Okay. Honestly speaking, fun part about me is that I'm a very casual guy. I wear
Yeah.
casual clothes. Fun part about me is that I'm wearing a suit thanks to you. Like a t-shirt, a formal t-shirt, a formal shirt. I would have never done it.
All right.
But yeah, like looks like your podcast is one that I want to be on. So I thought, okay, you know what? Maybe let me find my formal attire. It took me like an hour or so to iron
Yeah,
this.
and our bro, all right,
I'm horrible at it.
all right, but thank you so much. You took the effort, and I'm so happy that you're here. So I think we can get started, Ashita. The first question that I would like to ask you is that
Yeah,
when I was like recently speaking with you, you were talking about how ISEC has been such a has played such a role in your
right.
journey. So for people who don't know about like the organization, can you tell us what ISEC is actually about?
Awesome. AIESEC is basically a youth-run organization. It's an organization that promotes cross-cultural
Yeah.
exchanges, and that is to break stereotypes amidst
Yeah.
nations, right? It's mostly like, hey, someone from India goes to Pakistan, finds good things about Pakistan, and comes back and talks about it here back
Yeah.
in India, because there's a lot of stereotype about the country, right? So that is what AIESEC does in a gist, right? It just promotes exchanges, cross-cultural exchanges on multiple places. Like you could go out for an exchange and work in a company. You could go out and for an exchange and work in
Yeah.
an NGO, or you could just go out and exchange and have a teaching experience in another
Oh,
country. So that's in just what
all
AIESEC is
right. And
about.
like, who all can be part of this organization? Because I think people confuse it that only students can be. So is it only like student centric?
So anyone now, I'm not sure about the age. Again, it's been a while. But anyone from the age of 18 to 30 can go for
Okay.
an exchange. But if you have to be a member of the organization promoting exchanges or be an internal member to AIESEC, I think it's only college students. And then again, if you're not a college student, you're basically working there full
All
time.
right.
So and that to a good
All
level,
right.
yeah.
So, Achita, how did you come to know about ISEC, and what was like the motivation behind joining this? Like, what were the thoughts behind it?
It's a fun story. So I did not know about AIESEC for the longest, and I had a cousin who had gone for an exchange through AIESEC, but I did not know what AIESEC was
Yeah.
until then as well. And I think it was advertisement I saw, or like a WhatsApp status by someone that, hey, can you crack a very tough interview? And then I had a conversation with all my friends. Hey, you know what? This sounds like a fun activity to do, but all they're asking for is some amount of money to crack their interview. You know what? Let's go and try our luck. And then the three of us went, booked a cab. It was like a 20-25
Okay.
kilometer ride to just look at how they take interview. And honestly, we fell in
Okay.
love. Like the questions were great. The culture there during that interview process was just beautiful, right? And then there was a lot of young students there, and we felt that, you know what, this looks like the environment we want to be in for the next few months. And yeah, the next few months turned into the next few years for
All right.
me. So
All
yeah,
right.
that's how I came to
All
know
right.
about it.
Excellent. So, which all countries did you get the chance to visit and like?
So my story is a sad story because I was a pandemic
Oh,
guy. So like I had to sit down in my own country. I did get a chance to go to Morocco, l- like 5 days before the pandemic. I was ready to go to Morocco, and yeah, the
oh,
pandemic happened. And then over the next few years, maybe I would have visited multiple countries, but it is
all
what
right.
it is. I did still learn a lot
All
of
right.
things from
Okay.
Isaac.
So on your LinkedIn, you had mentioned that you were in the sales department of like the ISEC. So what was that like? How did you join the sales department and what responsibilities you have.
Yeah. Right. So in ISEC, there's a hierarchy that you need to follow, right? So you join as a member, and then you become a team leader. You lead a team of five, etc. Then you become a vice president, wherein you're leading a department. So the department that I was leading was the department of sales, wherein I was working with
Hmm.
NGOs and talking about the need of exchange students. That so as an NGO, it's important for you to experience diversity. So I was helping NGOs understand that what a foreign exchange student brings
Yeah.
to that NGO, and then convincing people from multiple countries to come to India and visit the city. So one thing that I did at the city level, and then I got the chance to do it at a national level, wherein I was heading 18
Oh wow.
cities in India, and building that international relations with multiple countries, and working with NGOs in all these cities. So yeah, that was my day-to-day job, and basically the sales part of it was training people. Is like just because in ISEC what you uh, do is through learning a lot of experimentation, and at a higher role you're expected to teach all these young students that have come
Yeah.
up, because the last role that I did was a full-time role, and I'd already gotten done with college. And in ISEC you join at your first year, second year, so I was a good 4 years senior
Okay.
to them. It was a good experience in terms of teaching them, okay, this is how you do sales, this is how you do marketing. So that was my
Awesome.
last role
Okay.
in ISEC.
So, like, how do you think ISEC has shaped you as a person, and why do you think people should join it if, like, you were just supposed to motivate some young students to join ISEC?
I think the biggest lesson that I learned in ISEC was doing the thing that you've been avoiding. Like it's very important to do so, right? Like if you succeed, well, great things happen, and if you don't, well, you learned a great deal of things. Either way, something great is of course going to happen, right? At the end of the day, and that's something that I think ISEC taught me. At the end of the day, I was this guy before ISEC who would just sit down and yeah, like I felt like I was good at a lot of things, but I did not do it. There was always that tad bit of procrastination, tad bit of insecurity, tad bit of should I not, confusion
Yeah.
about things. And in ISEC, you break through this, you break free of all these norms that you build for yourself, or break through the barriers that
Yeah.
you build for yourself. And I just became a free flowing person. I just felt like, okay, you know what, I'm meant to do something, or I'm supposed to do something. I don't need to fear any
Yeah.
judgment there is. And that really helped me grow as an individual. And I feel like if not because of ISEC, I would not be where I
Yeah.
am right
All
now.
right. Brilliant, brilliant. Because I think like these experiences are important, like when you go to college, because college is a place where you can afford to waste like a lot of time. You can get stuck in that where you
Right.
just are sitting around and like not
Absolutely.
doing anything. So I think that is like motivation enough for people to like just be a part of it so that they can develop their personalities and obviously contribute to a larger thing. All right, excellent. Ashita, now tell me a little more about the space that you're currently in, and like which is primarily the writing space, and how did it all start for you, like your writing journey?
Uh, a great question again. So my writing journey started back when I was like 15, 16, and this was back in school. I think I think we were sitting down and having this conversation about Batman or so. I'm not really sure, right? Right? So this is this superhero we were talking about, and I was like, you know what? I have a story idea, and I want to just write it down. And then I penned down a story wherein I think Joker is the villain in Batman,
Okay. Yes.
and I wrote down a story about how Joker could be. What if Joker was Batman's father, and story like that, and
Yes.
it blew up. Like people in school were absolutely amazed. Like, oh
Okay.
wow, this is like a very unique concept in the story.
Okay.
Then multiple people came up to me and like, you know what? Why not write a story about Harry Potter and Sherlock Holmes if they were together? And I did that too, right? And
Okay.
then uh, this really caught attention of a lot of people, and they said, you know what, start a blog. And I did, and started a blog.
Oh,
A few years later, I started an Instagram page with a couple of people, and that went on to having 40,000 odd
oh
followers
wow.
in within
Okay.
like a year or so, and then that experience really made me confident in my writing. So I think a lot of people in the writing field start with writing fiction, and that's my journey as well. Like I penned my first story was a very cringe story. When I look back at it, like, why did people even read it? But then I think it made sense to a lot of school
Yeah,
going students then, and like, okay, wow, that's a unique
absolutely.
idea. So yeah, started from a blog, went on to Instagram. So that was my journey in the first few
All
years
right,
of writing.
excellent. So you were you always like into reading? Were you like an avid reader like in your childhood? How did like you develop this creativity? Because like to even produce like content, you need to consume a lot first, right? So
Yeah,
were you
yeah, yeah.
reading?
So that I think that's thanks to my parents, right? So like every time me and my brother would fight about, hey, you know what, we want a PS or we want a new
Yeah.
video game. They never listen to us. But anytime we'd say that I want a book, Dad, the book would be on
Like
my desk
yes.
next morning.
Okay.
So so I think over uh, when I was back at home until the age of 14, 15, I think we used to read good 100 books a day, like me and my brother, and
Wow.
that's what built that habit of reading, the habit of writing down your thoughts after reading,
Yeah.
and that also helped me in creating content better. That you know what, I think I'm thinking about something, let me note it down, and
Yeah.
that habit turned into good creative writing at the end of the
Yes,
day. Yeah,
absolutely. I think reading is a huge part when it comes to, I think, writing because it gives you food for thought. It builds that
absolutely.
creativity, that cycle of imagination. So, whoever comes on the show, I always ask them, their first client experience and, how did they find them? What did they do? So, what was your first client experience like?
Okay, I think my first, and I think this is the story of every freelancer or anyone who writes who's into the content business, right? So the
Yeah,
first client that I had was a mentor of mine, and that's always in within your close network, right? And it was a mentor of mine, and I wanted to
Mhm.
build a lot of social proof. So I think the first client that I had, I did work pro bono, sat down with them, had a lot of conversation about what I want to do.
Mhm.
And I convinced the person that you know what, I want to experiment, and he was
Yeah,
convinced. He's like, okay, you know what, let's do it. And
yeah,
yeah, I did it at the end of the day and built a lot of social proof, which I ended up selling as time came, as time passed by. Yeah. So first
all,
work was this mentor of mine.
all right.
Honestly, in depth of him.
Okay,
Thanks to this person that I started getting more confident. You know what? I can sell my writing business. I can actually do this for money now.
yes,
Uh,
all right.
yeah.
Okay, okay. And how did you like get the chance to like work with Boat and Penguin and Zomato, all of these?
Uh,
Yeah,
uh, Pitching to them, right? And I think there's a lot of things, lot of these things happen when you go out of the box, send them that mail down, right?
yeah,
Or just start building your social proof. Now, if you're writing content on a day-to-day basis, say maybe on LinkedIn, right? If like I've started to write content on LinkedIn, and once you do that on a day-to-day basis, you will catch eyeballs.
yeah,
Uh, if you're doing that for 500 days on a continuous
yeah,
level, right? Either of the day, one of the Zomato guy might just see your post, and then they and if it's quality week in week out, and if they're seeing it for a week or so, they will drop you a message. So I think I've always focused on a lot of quality,
yeah.
backing myself with a lot of quantity as well, and yeah, like the first few gigs that I landed with all these people were through a lot of mails that I would send and testing all my mails, etc. But now, if I'm getting any gig, it's thanks to the social proof I've built on
Yes,
LinkedIn or multiple platforms.
absolutely. Okay, okay. So, Ashita, my next question to you would be like, for people who are like unclear about the difference between content writing and copywriting, could you like quickly explain the difference? Because I think people often mistake the two. So, what do you think? Is
Right.
there any difference between them? And like, yeah,
Yeah, absolutely right. Content writing is not so when you're writing content, the aspect of sales not there in content writing, and when copywriting, the aspect of sales fundamentally there. So when you're copywriting, you're writing to sell, and when you're
yeah,
content writing, you're maybe writing for audience to consume, right? So I think that is the biggest fundamental difference that people miss out on.
yes,
So if I have to sell something to you,
Hmm.
my copy, if I copyright, I need to write short, crisp, simple, and very easy to understand. But if I need to say maybe get you in view of my writing,
Yeah.
if I'm doing content writing, I could maybe phrase it in a very sophisticated manner and maybe make it look very poetic, and then you might just get convinced that hey, this person writes well. Either ways, copywriters are never given the credit that they write well
Yeah.
because they don't need to write well, right? They
Yeah.
they just need to write to sell. Content
Correct.
writers are the ones that say, "Oh my God, look at that writing! It just makes you fall in love with them." So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
All
the
right.
fundamental difference that people
All right.
miss out on. Yeah.
So I think like so do you need to like how do you develop this copywriting skill? Like do you need to take courses? Do you need to educate yourself? Because you do need to I think study brands and you know how they make their copies and stuff. So how do
Right.
you educate yourself more about copywriting? How did you do it?
So again, copywriting, and that's something that again people can agree. There's of course agreeing to disagreeing. Uh,
Yeah.
I started copywriting only because I was very good at content writing at one point of my life, and then copywriting started happening. That you know what, I'm good at being poetic right now. Let me just try out multiple things, and then what I used to do is pick up brands and then write basically how I would sell them, and then get to people and say what would you take, what
Yeah.
would convince you to buy more, and then maybe just put that asterisk mark on my notebook and then look at it and understand, maybe do that experimentation for 100 brands and then come back and see what's the common trend, write down those common trends, start experimenting with those trends. And that's how I learned a lot of copywriting. Of course, a lot of videos online that I watch. I subscribe to a lot of courses as well. People who say that hey, you can learn copywriting by just doing, that's crap for me, because you need
Yeah.
someone to guide you.
Yeah.
It's a skill at the end of the day. Like you can of course learn football by being by going to the pitch and playing football, but you become a great footballer only when you're coached or mentored. And that's what I understood about copywriting as well. Like you need to be mentored, you need to read a lot of books, you need to see a lot of new trends that's coming in, how people experiment with it, the mindset that you need to have on a day-to-day basis, how you need to even organize your desk. With
Yeah.
those small little things always affect how you're thinking, how you're writing. And yeah, I started experimenting with those, and the things that worked out for me, I noted it down, tried transitioning it to the people I've always worked with. Things that did not work out for me, I just started removing it from my life. Yeah.
Correct. All right. All right. Okay, so for people who like want to start out with content writing, Achyuta, what do you think are the best platforms for them to start finding their first clients? Do you think it's LinkedIn, or do you think there are other platforms also that exist that they can leverage?
Yeah, so right now, in my opinion, platforms like Upwork, Fiverr have started to become are getting saturated, right? At the end of the day, because there's so many freelancers out there who provide content. Uh,
Yeah.
it just doesn't make sense that if you're building a portfolio, and at the end of the day, you joining in to that platform wherein you don't have any social proof, people really are not convinced in pushing their work towards you. But I
Yes.
feel like the best platform for any content creator, and if it's just content writing, is LinkedIn, 100%. With it's a platform that supports you organically. Say maybe a platform like Instagram. What it
Yeah.
does is it only pushes your content when your content is exceptionally good and is very convincing to people. But LinkedIn, what it does is it sends out your writing to say your second or a third connection, just to experiment that okay, maybe this content can do well. and
Yeah.
and the fact that you reach more eyeballs on LinkedIn is always been a eye-catching thing for me, and that's one reason why I feel like you can, of course, if you are to get your first client, and I think anyone who's gotten their first client in the writing business, and was smart enough to build on multiple platforms, will say that LinkedIn was the first platform that they got their clients on. Yeah, same for me as well.
All right. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, Achyuta, when did you start your agency? Because you have an agency called Convert with Copy,
Right,
and what
yeah.
was the idea behind starting that? Like from content creation to like maybe you were freelancing and then you started an agency. So, what was the mindset behind that? Why did you start it?
Hey, I've been doing the agency thing for quite a while right now. So
Okay.
it's just that. there was a transition in ideas and I had to shut down my last agency. Of course, like my idea of getting into the content business or getting into, say, the copywriting business for founders and for employee branding was always there in my head. But
Yeah.
it the path I took with my last agency did not work out for me, and so I shut it down. And the last agency that I started working on was back in, I think it was back in, right now I'm not even sure about the time. It's September, if I'm not wrong. It is
Okay.
September of last year, and yeah, it's been good six months now, 6 or 7 months right now, and we've gotten into it. So that's the story on how long I've been into the agency. Uh,
Okay.
I did not get your second question. Come again. Like I think I missed out on
Like,
the second.
what motivated you to start an
Oh
agency
yeah.
for employer and founder branding?
Yeah, okay, employee and founder branding. Why I started for employee and founder branding, there's this significant market gap that people don't understand right now is the need of placing your personal brand in or pushing your personal brand out, right? I think a lot of people are doing this freelancing or agency thing because they feel like, oh, there's money in it, and they don't
Yeah.
understand there's a market gap there. There are
Yeah.
the people who are right at the top, say, likes of Bill Gates, likes of Jeff Bezos, right?
Mm.
People know more of Bill Gates than they know about Microsoft, and that Bill Gates has more following than Microsoft. Tomorrow Microsoft says that there's the end of the world, people will say that Microsoft's lost its brain, someone, the admin's lost its brain. But if
Yeah.
Bill Gates comes up and says that, hey, the world's ending, there's more possibility of people believing Bill Gates, right? And that's the power of building a personal brand. And I
Yes.
think we understood that companies can go from A to Z if the founder is out there in the network, and that's one problem that we noticed. Similarly, what we also understood was that if the employees of a company,
Yeah.
they start pushing out a lot of content out,
Mm.
it's just a lot of, say I'm searching about Google,
Yeah.
the content that I find, Google's a big brand. Say I'm searching a content about an XYZ company.
Mm.
What do? I see a lot of content on Quora, bullshitting on them, or somewhere else, right? But imagine the employees of XYZ pushing out a lot of content. It fills Google's search feed
Yes.
with a lot of content that is positive in nature. Uh,
Yes.
so tomorrow, if I have to sit down and apply to the company for a job, I see good content, right? Or tomorrow, if I want to work with this company because I heard about it, I see a very good positive reviews about the work culture, about, say, the testimonials that this company's been getting, and that's the market gap. We understood that, hey, if employees start branding, if the cost of it is very less because a lot of people pay for paid advertisement to promote themselves, and we can bring
Yeah.
that to them with a less amount of money that they need to invest, and organically their impressions would be like 10 times or 100 times more than what they would get through a paid advertisement. And that's something that we understood, and we've been pushing that out to multiple people.
All right. Yeah, no, I think it can be observed even like on social media. When you're working as in like SMMA also, like it is very difficult to grow a brand's account. Whereas at the same time, growing a person's account is so easy because people value people more than they value brands actually. And it is the people who make the brand. So, totally understand the thought behind your agency. So, what do you think are some like common roadblocks or problems that these founders face actually? Is it just like growing a personal brand or is it like something else as well?
Fundamentally, the biggest problem that all these founders face is is, is the need or is the understanding of why a personal brand is important, right? Like you just
Yes.
come and tell them, they're like, cool, a personal brand. Okay, I just need to be on the internet. I can do that myself as well, right?
Yeah.
It's just that there's this transition from generation to generation, and the concept of personal branding is very new, still very new in the market. And these
True.
founders have an average, if you look at the mental data reports or any report, an average age of a founder is close to 49 to 57, then that's the age group that an average founder is in, right?
Yep.
So there's this, they are the age group that were in their mid 30s when these platforms came in, platforms
Yeah.
like LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook came in. And
Yep.
now they were already very successful founders, and then the concept of personal brandings come in. And now they feel like, you know what, I'm already successful in my life. Why is there a need of personal brand? So to help
Yeah.
them understand that, hey, you need to stay in this situation for a long time. You want to be a successful founder for the next 100 years or next 20 years as well, or you want this company to sustain for the next 200 years. It'll only happen when people in your company start building a personal brand. And that's true. Tomorrow, even a platform called BYC comes in, you still need to build
Yeah.
a brand there as well, right? And we've started to understand that as many channels as it starts popping, and you start need to building a personal brand on all those channels. Yeah, it will get exhausting to a point where you'll start need to dropping a few channels, but then the need of the hour is to be present everywhere, like be present in multi-channel. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so like your agency, are you helping founders build only on LinkedIn, or are there like other social media platforms also that you're helping them build a personal brand on?
Right now, we're doing it only on LinkedIn because we understand the LinkedIn platform very, very well right now. Considering that we've been working and experimenting with algorithms, so the lot of content that we as founders are driving down, or we as our interns are driving down, is A/B testing.
Yeah,
So the content that you see me doing on say Monday to Friday of one week is small content, and
yeah,
it does people don't realize what I'm doing, but that's an experimentation that my agency is doing. The small content, how's the response? Large
yeah,
content, how's the response? So over the last few months, my content's shifted from say thought-provoking content to a very copywriting centric content, and that's week in week out, and week in result is tracked on my data on my sheet. Week two
yeah,
results tracked on my sheet, and then we compare. Okay, people or freelancing audience loves more of copywriting content and not thought provoking content. And then we start experimenting that, and that's something that we all our agency partners and everyone else is doing on a
yeah,
day-to-day basis. So we're just doing it on LinkedIn right now. Of course, we've started now diversifying on multi channels. We've started doing Twitter as well, but we don't want to promise results to people until we are successful there, and that's I think a very fundamental mistake. There are a lot of freelancers who promise results when they don't know the platform inside out. So we want to first diversify into multiple platforms to get results for ourselves, and then promise people or diversify for multiple people there. Yeah.
all right. Okay, okay, okay. So, when you onboard a client, Achyuta, can you take us like through the entire process of how you onboard them, what all details do you need from them, and what all strategies do you use to like grow their presence on LinkedIn?
Right. Uh, So how do I onboard our client is so we have a very strong onboarding process, right? We get
Okay.
them on a call, we understand their problem. Now for them, for us, it's very important to understand the problem that these founders are facing, not the problem of building a personal brand, because that's our problem. It's the problem
Yeah.
they're facing in their day life, and in say in the companies as well. That hey, lead generation is a problem. Hey,
Mhm.
brand presence is a problem, or hey, our fundamental problem, there's a wrong brand being showcased by people, or hey, we got unlucky and there are a couple of horrible testimonials on the internet that we want to get rid of, right? And we understand the problem first. Then
Okay.
we have a couple of questions that we come prepared with. We get the answers for that, and the post that we send them a questionnaire to get more answers, more answers and understand. And then we sit down as a team and build a strategy for them that hey, this is the kind of content we want to push out. So if there's horrible testimonials on the internet, what we
Mhm.
want to do is maybe just counterbalance it with great testimonials on the internet now. And then we do it say on Wednesdays, like could be called, or say Tuesdays could be called say testimonial Tuesdays, right?
Yes.
And then get more people out and to read say testimonial Tuesdays, and just maybe just click a screenshot of that comment down who of people who've appreciated the content over the week, and also talk about that on say Thursdays, that hey,
Yeah.
great comments that I received on Thursday, and then that just starts counterbalancing. So we just sit down, understand what needs to happen, then strategize accordingly. Now, couple of LinkedIn strategies that we focus on
Yep.
is giving the freedom of commenting. I think a lot of people do complete LinkedIn management as an agency or as a freelancer, we don't do that. We
Okay.
want the founders to be held accountable for their actions. So we give them the room of commenting. Of course, we build, say, a comment box for them, wherein we
Acha.
give them 30 odd comments that they can start repurposing. But then
Okay.
again, we encourage all these founders to comment themselves, because unless they do it, they're not accountable, and then we are 100% accountable for building their brand, and that it never goes works that way. We want their voice out on the internet as well.
Yes.
More things that we do is we note down every phrase that we always have a transcriber. We transcribe their call, put it on a script, understand the kind of phrases that they use. That if someone does not like to use "for God's sake," so we'll never use that in content. Now, someone is absolutely in awe with that term, that "for God's sake." So we start using those terms, and then that term starts being recognized or recognizable with this founder altogether. So a lot of our time goes in understanding and emulating this founder's voice. Fundamental mistake that we've seen with a lot of freelancers and agency owners is that they take up a gig, and then they start feeling then they start thinking about pushing down a content as how they
Yeah.
write, and that's not something that we want to do. We want to write as the founder writes, right? So if the founder wants to write a very sophisticated thing, it's up to us to sit
Yeah.
down, learn, and
Yeah.
understand their industry and write sophisticated stuff about that. So of course, the content will improve gradually over the week based on like feedbacks that we get. But our
Yeah.
idea is to write what they want. And if say someone wants to write very generic, thought-provoking content, we understand the kind of content. Someone wants to write only about quotations, we understand that. If someone wants to write about the story of their life on a day-to-day basis, we need to
Yeah.
understand the story of their life. So over
Yes.
the process, I think one great thing that we do as an agency is we build a very strong relationship with our client. So it's just that we know them inside. We even know what sort of coffee they like.
Yeah.
Because that's how in depth we go. We understand what they're facing on a day-to-day life. We understand that, okay, this client's out on a Friday night because they take breaks on Friday, so we're not supposed to message them on Friday. And that's the kind of relationship we build. And it's very fun
Yeah.
to get on a call after 2 3 months, because you build that rapport between yourselves. Earlier, there's this, of course, this ice of, you're a client, and I'm supposed to work for you, but
Yeah.
you end up turning up as good people collaborating to work together, and
Yes.
that just makes work easy and less stressful as well.
Correct. You need to know like the person inside out because you're
Yeah,
writing in his voice. So like
yeah,
it is important. And all right,
of
excellent
course.
system you've put in place. Okay, so Ashita, you also have co-founders, right, in your agency.
Right,
So so like tell me how did you find them? Because like usually when people are starting agencies, I think one question that they have is that how do I find the right co-founder? So like
right.
can you tell me like how did you find your co-founders and what made you start together as a team?
Hey, I think if before you find your command, it's very, very important that you know them. And to know them is to really know them, right? So a big problem that a lot of us face is not knowing your co-founder, and then
Mhm.
that gradually turns out into a proper shit show towards the end, right? If
Yeah.
I can use that word. Uh,
Yes.
so what happened with me was that I had this idea for a long time, and I did not pitch it to both of them, and I wanted to work on multiple projects, and I ended up doing this project called Crew Connect, where we hosted an event in New Delhi with
Yeah.
like getting creators from around India at one place, LinkedIn creators, and doing a meetup or get together.
Okay.
Really worked out well for me, and then the couple of small gigs as well worked out well for me is when I pitched this idea to both of them. I did not meet them through LinkedIn. I knew them way before LinkedIn, like good 2.5 years before LinkedIn, because through LinkedIn, you know a person only virtually. And
Yeah.
it's very important that you know your co-founders, uh, like what they do, who are they as people, what their value systems are,
Yeah.
because that is not possible to do on LinkedIn. if you're not meeting this person face to face. So
Through text,
so
even like coffee call, because a lot of people like want to get on coffee calls on LinkedIn, but that is not enough to know a person, you know?
yeah, it is not. It's of course to break ice. I think this coffee calls are to break ice.
Yeah,
But then again, the words become so pretentious. Are you
yes.
really breaking
Can't
ice?
really judge.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's that. And for your co-founders, you need to be very blunt. So co-founders fight, right? Like we fight too, and to fight and not be hurt is only
yeah,
possible when you know the person out. So then you
that-
can is when you know that okay, now I've fought and I also understand that this person likes cheesecake. Let me send them a cheesecake after fighting, and then that's how it happens, right? And
yeah, yeah.
so I think I got lucky with finding both of them before LinkedIn, and through LinkedIn I understood the passion for the platform. Through LinkedIn, I understood that they're very consistent, hardworking individuals, and that transitioned into what we're doing right now.
All right, excellent, excellent. Okay, so Achyuta, now my next question to you would be, what has been the role of LinkedIn in your journey? Like, if you could share with us.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think the role of LinkedIn has been teaching me consistency because you need to wake up every morning and write down content, right? Or batch create content. You need to always remember that hey, this content going out. You need to go out and engage with people, still have a conversation, understand what's happening
Yeah,
amidst your audience. So
yeah,
lot of consistency. Like I think right now, if I'm hitting the gym, it's because of
yeah,
LinkedIn. And I shit you not, it's because of LinkedIn. Uh,
yeah.
if I've started to listen to podcasts on a day-to-day basis, it's thanks to
Hmm.
LinkedIn. If I'm reading 15 pages, it's thanks to LinkedIn. If I'm playing football every day, it's thanks to LinkedIn. It's because
Wow.
LinkedIn really built that system.
Yeah,
Once you build a system and you see growth, of course, like I haven't grown from 0 to 100,000 followers. I think I've grown very slowly, but it taught me that putting that small thing drop by drop can really, really fill your bucket, right?
yeah,
And that's what started to push me. Now, when I go to the gym, what the problem with people in gym is they don't see results. They're like, hey, gym shit. I don't want to go to the gym. But now I understand that things happen slowly, and it's
yeah.
how like slow growth is important, right? Something that I realized through LinkedIn, I think, and through the journey that I had on LinkedIn, right? That quick growth builds a lot of ego and slow growth builds a lot of character. And that's thanks to the journey that I had on LinkedIn. And I'm glad that I did not get super viral. I'm glad that I did not, because then again, I'm sure like that bit of ego I would also have. And I'm glad that it was slow. It was
Okay.
very exhausting, very draining, but it did bring me good results. So I think consistency is something that I learned. And to anyone and everyone who might listen to this podcast, and if you are new to the world of working hard, trust
Yeah,
me, just go out there and do your thing on a day-to-day basis. Yeah,
yeah.
it will
Consist.
work out for you.
At least that is what people say on LinkedIn as well. You know, it's all about consistency, and they're
It's
right.
all.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Also, when did you like start posting on LinkedIn and by the way, your growth has been like pretty nice. It's pretty good. Achyuta, it's 12. I think you're nearly 12K followers now. So
Yeah.
it's good growth. So tell me, when did you start and like what strategies did you use to like grow? Was it just consistency or were you like experimenting with a certain strategies? Like tell me something about that.
So I think I started posting back in May of 2023. Like that's when I started. I decided, you know what? It's about time. Let me type down on a day-to-day basis, and I did
Okay.
that. And first few weeks, you listen to all these gurus on LinkedIn. You're like,
Yeah.
hey, you gotta comment on big creators profile. Hey, you gotta do this thing, that thing, X, Y. And
Yeah.
I did that, and I did that, and I started realizing that I'm getting burned out, and there's no specific result, and I'm not questioning why I'm doing it. Sat down one day, questioned my whys, questioned my belief system, questioned my LinkedIn system, and I understood that what, I'm not enjoying. So I sat down and thought of taking a week break, and that's the only break I've ever taken on LinkedIn in the last uh,
Oh, wow.
how much 250, 300 odd days of posting now. It's just
Okay.
that one week wherein I went out for a conference as well, and
Okay.
I sat down, and during that week I just wrote down, okay, these are the things I needed to change right now, and I did. So I think the biggest change that I brought in was start posting for myself and start posting for my audience than to start posting quality content for my audience than content that woos them or impresses them. I don't need to impress anyone. I just need to be myself there.
Yes. Yes.
So a lot of my content, if anyone reads, is all about how I speak and how if you come and talk to me, I'll tell you the literal same thing in that
Yes.
same tone that you read on LinkedIn. And I stopped commenting on big creators' profile or
Yes.
doing all of this. And I comment on any post that I absolutely fall in love. I
Yeah.
don't go out and start clicking on this person is where I want to comment. I just
Mm.
scroll through my LinkedIn. Yes, of course, some days are very daunting and exhausting for me, so I don't get to scroll on my LinkedIn feed. But every
Right.
content that I absolutely love, I
Yeah.
go out there and comment. So if there are 500 posts I read, and if
Mm.
there are 450 posts I love, I'll comment on that on what I am thinking. I won't comment to impress them as well, so that they comment back on, because that barter system is something that annoys me. Like you don't need to do that. Some people,
Yeah.
of course. So I've seen people stop commenting on my post. I've seen people doing that, but I've never had that problem in me. Like if I absolutely love their content, I'll go back and read it over and over again. And I don't
Yes.
mind doing that. So I
Yes.
think a couple of learnings that I've had is, I think one learning is important to be yourself. It's important to showcase yourself on that platform. Like if it's, and just be unapologetic about who you are. Like of course, there's this tendency of growing and learning every day that I have as well. So
Mm.
there was a lot of experimentation I do.
Mm.
The one ongoing experimentation that I'm doing is someone just talked to me, and just this random conversation I had, people said that, you know what, you grow on LinkedIn only when you post pictures. I'm like, you know
Yes.
what, let me show you that you can grow on LinkedIn without posting pictures. My
Yeah.
impressions dropped drastically, my
Yes.
engagement dropped drastically, uh thanks to not posting pictures. But
Yes.
I have decided the next 100 days I'm not gonna post pictures. I'm gonna just write content and see how many people appreciate. And then people are. Maybe after 100 days I'll post pictures. I might get back my impression. But this is one
Yes.
experimentation I'll forever remember, or one experience I'll forever remember. So I'm just doing that
All
right now.
right. Yeah, no, I think I've observed that too. I've observed your only text posts, and
Yeah,
I think like LinkedIn is a platform which definitely supports like putting a picture.
yeah,
It does. The
it
impressions are
does.
different when you post. But
Right.
I think like once you build a community and like there are people who genuinely like enjoy your work, then they will like engage no matter what.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's also true.
right.
And it's a great initiative that you have taken. I think it needs guts to like do that, because it can be a little demotivating to see your impressions and engagement drop when you're like not posting photos. But all right, okay, okay, great. So Achyuta, tell me like when you like started as a 15-year-old to like start writing content to where you are now. What differences have you like observed in yourself? Are there any changes according to you?
A lot of changes, right? I think fundamentally a lot of changes. So
Yeah,
I think my biggest learning has been that life disproportionately rewards you if you look at it in a longer time frame, right? Like if you're looking at it at a smaller time frame, then there's no reward. Uh,
yeah,
but if you look at it in a longer time frame, there's so many rewards that you get. So I think that's one of the greatest good learning that I've had. Second,
yes,
second learning that I've had is that how do you control your inner voice, right? So as you get into something or start getting good at something, uh, what happens is you start getting smarter, you start getting intelligent, and that becomes a handicap. Why?
yeah,
Because when you are intelligent enough, you
mm,
also find better excuses to justify in avoiding things that you're doing, right? So
mm,
I've started to understand that I've gotten good at this. I've gotten good at content writing. You know what? I just need to just close my eyes and just write something out. It'll be great. I've
yeah,
I've stopped doing that. I've understood that every day I need to put in a lot of effort and hard work. I still need to do that research I used to do on day one. Because
yeah,
irrespective of however good I've got, I can still get better, and that's very important that you start understanding your inner voice as well. And
yes,
third thing I've understood is how important is criticism, how
mm,
important is constructive criticism. Let me rephrase it. Like it's a very useful information that people need to have. So if you're getting criticized and it's for the and it's a useful information, it's very good for you. Uh, and if you're getting criticized and it's not any useful information for you, it's a very useful information about the person who's criticizing you. So you
Yeah.
get to know that, hey, this person is not a person I'll ever work with, or I need to work with, or it's not a person I need in my life. So I think
Yeah.
these key learnings that I've had over my like journey has really shaped me into a like an individual right now who really does not get affected by say metrics as well. Like you just spoke about like metrics, people get demotivated. Trust
Yes.
me, I look at metrics and I see, okay, this content did not work out because it does not bother me if I'm at 900 impression or 90,000 impression. Like it's
Yes.
not. You just scroll through my LinkedIn, you'll not notice a single post that talks about I got 100,000 impressions. I don't
Correct.
talk about that because I don't need to. Because I can talk about how you get to that. Of
Yeah.
course, I'd love to help people and talk about my experimentation, but not talk about like I just feel like that's this it's not cringy. People should do it. That's how you build social proof. But I just feel like that's not my cup of tea. Like I hate talking about those things. Even though my agency and my co-founders, we've gotten uh like impressions that's unreal and unbelievable. We don't talk about that. We just feel like that's not the matter. We want to talk about the amount of leads we've generated, the amount of money we've saved, the money we've generated. That's the kind of conversation we want to have because that's how business people on LinkedIn should be. And I'm sure you'd agree to it as well. Like LinkedIn is slowly transitioning into building big people with influencers than people who want to start and establish a business. And that's
Right.
that's a that's a very big problem that I think we're noticing right
Yeah.
now.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's all right. Okay. What about your family and friends? Do you think they have also observed changes in you and like how you've grown with this?
Good question, right? My mom, dad, they're really happy that I'm working out. They're really happy. And then, when you do something consistently and it's working out on a day-to-day basis, you start becoming happier in life. Like, okay,
Yeah.
uh, 6 months ago, I was not here. 6 months now, I'm somewhere else. So they just see that, okay, there's this transition of me being happier on a day-to-day basis. I've started to live in the moment right now more. I really don't care on what's going to happen 28 days later. But right now, what's happening right now? I'm really happy doing this podcast. I might rethink about, okay, you know what? I started this podcast talking about my shirt. Maybe I should not have. Maybe this another funny fact as about me as well, right? So I started
Uh,
to live in the moment right now, and there's something that my parents can see, my siblings can see, my friends can also see, and yeah, there are of course people who absolutely hated the idea that, hey, why are you building something on social media? That's stupid, man. That's not something that you want to do. But
mm,
I think I've grown past them, or I've realized that those are not the people I want in my life. I really want people who are supportive to things that I do.
yeah.
Of course, I don't want to jump into the water. I want them to also call me out when I'm doing something stupid. But
Yes.
I feel like this is not something stupid that I'm doing, and I'm lucky to have great people around me in my life right now who are very
Yes.
supportive to me. Yeah, so
Yes.
thanks to them.
Right. So one question that comes to my mind,
Yeah.
Achyuta, is that as you grow in your journey, do you think that you also outgrow people? Do you think that that's true?
It is. It is. I think one very good book that I want people to read is Simon Sinek's The Infinite Game. It talks about outlasting people and outgrowing people, right? So I feel like when you start understanding that your end goal or your end target or your end competition is yourself,
Mm.
right? And you start outgrowing start getting better on a day-to-day level and start outgrowing people. It really transitions your out, like, or you start looking at the world in a very different way now. I anytime one or everyone who comes to me and I have the bandwidth and the mental energy to talk to them, I do that. I don't want to charge them anything because I feel like there's so much information that I have right now and I command right now that I can give for free, and I don't want to do that for money, etc. I know the people I can charge money, man. I know the people I can take money from, and I do that on a day-to-day basis, but not people who want to grow. So I think my fundamental like goal in life right now is to show people how important it is to outgrow yourself. It's how important it is to outlast uh, your competitors. How important it is. Like I've seen people on LinkedIn, and this is just a LinkedIn conversation, just because we're talking about LinkedIn. That I was at 5,000 followers, someone joined at zero, went at to 10,000, disappeared, and I crossed 10,000 in my own pace. I'm there. I just outlasted them in their own game. And people ask me how long are you going to do this, and I always tell them that I'm going to be here as long as the platform's going to be here. So you can come, you can go. I know you'll not have time in your life. You see me 10 years down the line, I'll still be posting, man. And I because I've fallen in love with the fact that this helps me think better. This helps me do other things in my life better. And that's something that I want other people to see as well, like the importance of outgrowing who you were yesterday.
All right. Excellent. Profound. Profound. All right. Okay. Also, how's life in the UK like?
Life in the UK, to everyone and anyone who's talking about like, hey, life's great in UK, it is. I'm not gonna lie, it is. Life's very good in UK, but the
All
weather
right.
here is horrible. I won't lie. Like it's raining all the time. Like I look outside and I want to see a ray of sunshine. So it's been
All
like
right.
good 6 months. I haven't seen sunshine, but
All
no,
right.
life's good. Thanks for
All right.
asking.
All right. Great. Great. Okay. So, actually, the last question, then we can move forward to the rapid fire, which is the last
Okay.
segment. What is
Wow.
one? Yes, we have a rapid fire. That'll be fun.
Wow.
All right. So, what is one advice that you would like to give to somebody who's just starting out with content writing? And like, if they are like just starting out, what advice would you like to give to them? Just any advice would work.
Anyone who's starting into the content business, I'd say that firstly, like, great that you started out. Great that you feel like this is one thing that you should do. Is to trust yourself, trust the process of transformation, trust the process of change. Like, just go out there, read a lot, write a lot, and don't get disheartened by like failures, right? So you need to fail a lot. The content writing as a place is where you'll experience a lot of failures. I'm sure a lot of other businesses as well, but content writing as a place is a lot of failure. Like I'm everyone on LinkedIn who's not getting that 10,000 impression is failing every day,
Yeah.
and yet I see people smiling and laughing and talking about it. So it's very important to fail on a day-to-day basis, because
Yeah.
only when you fail is when you start realizing that, okay, how sweet success looks like. And I'm glad that I failed throughout, because I've learned so much that I feel like when I'll get to a position where I'll get successful, I'll be a very happy and content person, because I've failed so many times. I know 100 different, like Thomas Alva Edison. Like if you notice, like, hey, I think this quote, I'm not really sure that he spoke about, was like, I've learned 99 different ways of not creating a bulb, right?
Yeah.
That's what he said, like, for the
Yes.
creation of light bulb. Yeah. So that's that's
All right.
that's the experience. That's the
All,
advice I would want to give.
all right. Excellent. Excellent. So I think Ajita, we can move forward to the rapid fire now, so
Yeah.
that the
Wow.
audience and
Yeah.
me myself can know you like a little better.
Yeah.
All right. So are you ready?
Yeah. I am. I'm nervous as well, but yeah, let's go. Let's go for it.
I
Yeah.
know, don't be, don't be. Okay. All right. First question to you is, what's your favorite guilty pleasure TV show?
If guilty pleasure TV show is Modern Family.
Modern Family. Excellent choice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What's your go-to fast food? Like favorite?
Go to fast momos.
Momos.
I
All
am
right.
dying.
Excellent choice again. All right. Okay. What's your favorite emoji and why?
Surprisingly, no emojis. I don't. If
Really?
you've been texting me, you see that I don't use emojis.
Yeah, yeah.
Is
You
that
don't use
is
it.
that dot and smile? That's the one. That's the one that I use.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay. Okay. What's your favorite book?
My favorite book is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. So that's one of my favorites.
All right. Okay. What's your favorite film?
Interstellar by Christopher
It is
Nolan. Yeah. I'm
excellent.
a huge Nolan fan. I'm a huge Nolan fan. Yeah.
Right. Excellent. What's one quality you don't like in a person?
Dishonesty.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
What's okay? Coffee or tea?
I don't drink either of them. Like I don't drink coffee and I don't drink tea as well. I know people
Start your
say,
day.
oh, yeah, but I don't drink coffee or tea either.
Okay. All right. Okay. 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 What's one place that you would like to visit?
One place that I'd like to visit, Colombia, Medellin.
Colombia.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have a useless talent? If you have any, you can share it with us. I mean,
Useless talent. I think it's doodling. I doodle a lot, so it's doodling.
okay,
That's
all
what
right, I
it
do
is.
that too. Or if you
Yeah.
see it, somebody can post it on LinkedIn maybe because like people would like to see that.
I think
Or maybe
I
on WhatsApp. I think anything works. Whatever.
yeah, works.
All right. Okay. All right. Also, what's okay? Last question. What's the best piece of life advice you've ever gotten, or read, or just anything in general?
Best piece of life advice that I've read is I think life is what you make of it. I think that's one small line. Life is what you make of it. Really pushes me. Like, okay, you know what? At the end of the day, it's my life. At the end of the day, it's me who's facing or going through a lot of things. It's just that
Yeah.
I need to be the solution to all my problems. Like, not go out and crib about my problems to people. So I think that's something that's helped me get over a lot of things in life as well, because I understand that it's me who's in charge. It's not my brain, it's not the people around me. It's me who's in charge. Yeah.
All right, great. So on that note, Achyuta, we come to the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for being here, guys. All of Achyuta's social links will be in the description, so you can follow him everywhere, and especially follow him on LinkedIn. And Achyuta, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. I just want to say this is well, like, thank you
Yes,
so much for being. You've been a great host. I think this is one of the
thank you.
you're one of the best podcasts that I've been on. So I've been on a couple of them. Like, I've got lucky to be on a couple of. And this was a very good experience because I felt like we were talking, and yeah, I hope more people come out here, and I hope like Out of Office really becomes a big box office hit. Yeah,
Thank you so much, man. Thank you, I appreciate it. And I would like to, love to have you on the show once again.
yeah, sure. Anytime. Thank you so
All
much.
right, thank you. Bye, guys.